Good afternoon. Welcome to our outside kitchen. We have lots of fun around our fire kitchen. At the moment we have two loaves of bread baking in the oven. If you look at the back, there's some bricks on top of a piece of metal, and that's my oven, and we're busy baking bread there. It should be ready at 1:30 to come out, but it's really hot today and we need to make a refrigerator to keep our earth balance cool. So what do we have here? We've got two clay pots. The one's bigger than the other one, and we lined it with some sand in the space in between, and I'm just going to throw some cold water on the outside rim here without trying to spill inside, and let it just soak in there. And that will cool the pot.
Good thing I almost drank some of the water. I almost took some of your water.
So we just wanted to soak down to the bottom. You don't want to let it overflow inside. And we will probably see it start draining out the bottom. And as soon as it stops, it's still soaking up water here. Let's just let it soak a little bit, and we can put our margarine in there so long. Whatever vegetables you have that you want to keep cool, you're going to put that inside. And we just got the base of the pot that goes underneath, and we're going to put that on top for the lid. And there's our refrigerator. If you keep the sand wet on the outside, it should keep the inside cool.
Wow.
Okay, so that's our outdoor refrigerator. You can actually build yourself a cage with burnt out coal, anthracite, and fill the cage. The cage must be wide, has a space like this, like a little refrigerator. Fill it with a burnt out coal and just wet it with a hose pipe in the morning and in the evening, and it will keep everything cool inside. That's how my aunt used to do it on the farm. They didn't have power.
Wow.
So that's just some ways. Behind me we have some thermal cookers going. You don't have power, you're going to use either wood or gas to cook your food. So what we did is we've got some rice, some quinoa, what else? We have some nettles cooking in this one. This is a thermal cooker. It's got a pot inside that I can put it on a stove for 10 minutes, and as soon as it's boiled for 10 minutes, we're going to put it in here. And you can leave it for up to 8 hours, and it would keep your food warm inside. This is just a normal cool box. Let me stand this way. That I lined with some insulation inside, and when I open it up, you can see I've put some towels around my rice. And the rice is cooked, I can see that inside here. And we only cooked the rice up for about 5 or 7 minutes inside the kitchen this morning. The same on this side. we have, this is the nettles. We've got nettles in this one, and we've got probably rice in this one, and this is my cool box. We don't have space to close the lid, but inside I lined it with one of my comforters. And then I just wrapped my pot, and I've got my big canner that we used on Friday inside there, and wrapped it in a towel and stuck it inside my my cool box. And you can do that with your washing basket too, if you have a blanket to keep your pot, and it makes a thermal cooker. So you can improvise and make things with almost nothing. Okay, behind me I've got another thermal cooker, and I think this should be ready. I bake bread here. This morning I got up early because it takes about 8 hours. And I don't think I have some, I need some mitts, some hand mittens. They must be in our camping box. As you can see, this is a big pot. It's still got boiling water in here. It's burning my fingers, and this lid is going to burn it too. In the flat one, oh, I washed them, they're not there. Thanks. This should work. This lid is very hot, so I'm just going to lift off my lid. Okay, as you can see, I've got water up to here in this pot. What I did is I put my bread in a jar. The others are starting to float. I have to take them out quickly here. Okay, you can see my canning jar. It's a 1.5 pint jar. That's the only canning jar that's got a straight side. The normal wide mouth has got a little lip, and your bread's not going to come out. And these fit perfectly into my pot that I have. But be careful, it floats around as soon as you put the water in. So I've got a canning jar in the middle full of water to try and keep them from falling over all the time. So what I did is I put my little ball of dough, my bread dough, just about this high inside here. And then I waited for it to rise up to here. And then I closed them up with foil and put it in this pot of hot water, and I boiled it on the stove for 20 minutes and stuck it in my thermal cooker. And here we have some crustless bread. And we shake it, it should come out. It's quite hot. There we go. And there's some nice freshly baked bread without any oven. And we'll take the others out later on. We have to start with our food here. I've got some, because we're so many people, I've got some bigger pots, but when we do it for ourselves, we've got some smaller Dutch ovens. And I'm just going to put it on the fire. And because we're so many people, we're going to do 2 of these. I messed up that brick. And I like to position my pot so that the fire is not in my face all the time, on the edge of the bricks. So when I start frying inside, a little bit back, that's it. And I normally start with my onions. And put the lids off. We have some extra flavor in there. The onion work. to start with some oil. I don't want the lids. And in the one pot we're just going to make a regular stew, and the other one we're going to put some Indian flavor in for Bimal. Where's Bimal? So I'm just going to start with my onions first. And we're going to saute the onions. With the Indian one, we're going to start it a little different. I've got a daba here full of Indian spices. So we're going to start off with some cumin. My utensils. Just give that a little stir. It's not that hot here. So I'm going to put some cumin in my oil. We're quite a few people, so, and a little bit of whole coriander seeds. And as soon as they start to pop a little bit, roast a little bit, we can add some asafoetida if we have it, but I didn't bring any up here now. Not very hot yet. They're starting to roast a little bit. I need a knife. Can you cut this open? This is just some mild curry powder. And we're gonna add that to the spices so that it can get some more flavor. Then I'll add my onions. And you want to saute your onions until they're nice and browned before you add the rest of the stuff. Sorry, it's too hot on the side. It's not the onions, it's the smoke. And you just want your onions to get soft and get some flavor to it. It's a brave little soul here. Come on, you need to go away. Hot here. Onions is starting to get a little cool here. I mean soft. Then I like to add my red peppers. No, actually I'm going to add my... I need to wash my hands a little bit. There's a jug of water there. I like to add my celery in there to also get a little soft. So I'm just going to scoop the celery out here from the carrots. The rest will have to stay for later. And with a stew like this, you just use the vegetables you have in your garden normally, and that's the best ones. onions are starting to brown a little bit in this side. And I'm going to add my red peppers. Get a breath of fresh air. This one looks good. Next we're going to add the carrots. And then I'm going to add some vegetable broth. Sorry, I rinsed my arm from that side. Now on this side we're going to make it a little bit different. And remember, I taught you how to open a canning jar. That's how easy it is. This is a little bit of salsa. Some more salsa for this side. Some canned tomatoes. More flavoring in here. Do you have a can opener for us? Now, I forgot to put my curry leaves in when I fried the... So we're just going to add some curry leaves in here. And curry leaves gives the best flavor to food. We're going to add some coconut milk to the Indian side. We'll just put the veggies in. This is just some butternut and some pumpkin from our garden. Oops. Okay. And this is some sweet potato. Oops. No, country store. Our pot's not going to be big enough. Some potatoes. And some squash. And I forgot the most important part, our garlic. On this side, we're going to add some chickpeas. This is what we made on Friday. I don't think this is going to fit in here. I had a regular spoon here. Add our potatoes. Who doesn't like garlic? Everybody likes garlic? They just oxidated a little bit. Because we chopped them last night. Need some more liquid in there. We'll add some more broth here. Vegetable stock. And we will put zucchinis in the side. I don't want more coals yet. Here we are. This one looks like the vegetables will make its own liquid, but we haven't put any salt on. So how many teaspoons of garlic powder do you normally put in a normal pot? About one? Okay, and this is about 4 pots, so we'll put 4. This one I put in salsa and coconut oil, coconut milk instead of vegetable stock. That's got 2 vegetable stock in already and a jar of tomatoes. This is garlic, that was onion. Yeah, I must go around. This might be easier with this one on this side. Onion powder. Use these. And some salt. Did you know that you have a teaspoon on your body? You've got a hand, and you can pour salt in there, and that's normally a teaspoon. And we need 4 teaspoons here, at least. That's it. Now we're going to let it simmer for a little while and let the vegetables cook a little bit. And you don't want too high heat. The rule of thumb is for a stew, you want it to always cook slowly so that the vegetables can get soft. The smoke likes me. And then we'll just check it, and later on we'll just taste and see how it tastes, and then we can add maybe some more flavoring if needed, but I think this should be quite nice. And I like to just press my vegetables so that they like in the liquid before I start with the lid. This one might need some more liquid. Let's just get some tomatoes. Okay, so we're going to let that simmer for a little bit. And we're 4 minutes away from taking the bread out of the oven. So we should clear out here some space. Yes.
Can you explain to us how you built these
So what I did here for this oven was there's a third of a 55-gallon drum as the circle inside, and then I built a block around it. Okay, and inside the block I filled it with crush and run stone, because as I did the research on it, they say that if you don't fill it, or let me put it this way, people have had the block explode on them without it being filled. So I thought, well, if I fill it, then it will heat up equally. And I haven't had a problem of even the blocks cracking at this point. So all these blocks are filled with crushed stone. And then around the circle, I've filled it also with with crush and run stones, and there's also some fine particles around it, so it keeps the heat in. And so you've got an oven, and you'll see as the bread comes out of it. On the top of the block, I just put some sand and then put these paving stones on the top. Over here, it's a similar concept. It's just open fire, and you'll notice that the smoke always comes up, right? Have you ever noticed that around a campfire, the smoke always follows you? The reason for that is that the wind is blowing towards you, you creating the draft, and the smoke follows you. So if you don't want that around a fire, you need to create that artificial draw. Okay, so with this wall, these three walls, it draws in the air from that side and the smoke goes straight up. Okay, I did some experiments here. It was shorter before, but as you can see, many times you need more fire to add coals later. So I extended it by a block and a half basically, and you've got space to make fire over there that it doesn't affect this too much. And they're not concreted in the blocks, they've just been placed, and it works very well. We've had many cookouts around this stove, you know, and if power goes out in your home and you don't have another option to cook, you're kind of stuck. So if you create an outside kitchen, you wouldn't be so stuck. So this is basically an outside kitchen, and it works very well, as you can see. Any other questions?
Can you explain the oven? How you make an oven?
Yeah, it's a third of a 55-gallon drum in there, packed with stone around it. Well, you first build your block around your drum and then pack it with stone, and so the whole is a 55-gallon drum. And so you create what, I forget the right wording right now. It's keeping your heat in, right? And so you put a lid on the top, put the coals in the bottom, okay, on some bricks, and you put your Dutch oven in there, and it maintains your heat. And what, it's been in there for
2 hours now.
2 hours,
Wow.
and it will be cooked. Any other questions?
The coal was underneath.
You'll see when we open the lid, you'll be able to see inside there what I'm meaning. It might be hard for some of you to imagine it.
So you had coals at the bottom on the other side?
Coals
Yes.
at the bottom. The Dutch oven there is sitting on bricks, and up to the base of those bricks, it's filled with a layer of coals. Okay. I got up at 4 o'clock this morning to make the fire so that there were plenty of coals available to do that.
So you said 2 hours the bread has been
2 hours has been in here.
and that's
And I have a Dutch oven like this inside there with 2 loaf pans, also cast iron, because your cast iron distribute your heat more evenly on your bread. Even if I bake bread in my oven, my cast iron pans, the loaves come out much nicer than the others.
And you don't burn bread in cast iron.
Not really.
You've got to try hard.
I've done it. So our 2 hours is up. Yanyan, where's your timer? Time's up.
So if you want to come closer, you can have a sneak peek inside here so that you can understand the concept.
Het was warm genoeg.
Okay, so there's your third of a drum. Okay, around it it's packed with stone inside of your block.
Doesn't smell done.
And it's a flop.
It's a flop. It didn't cook. We didn't have enough coals there.
It has to be more hotter.
Yeah,
It
wasn't-
cold.
there wasn't enough
It's
coals
still
there.
warm, but
So we
What do
can
you
take
want?
it out. We have some coals here. If we add coals,
Can you still cook it?
Can you still finish cooking it?
yeah, I'm sure we can just try and do it.
So the brick is too high, you say?
Yeah. Our oven master wasn't here to help us. Yes. It's a cast iron. You call it the Dutch oven. In South Africa, the Dutch people use that for cookware.
When you put the pan on, do you still have fire or only?
No, careful. No. It's hot there. And we're gonna have some hot fire coming in here now, so be careful.
So just coals. What's below the coals? Anything?
Do you have to wait 2 hours before putting the pan on?
I wait for my bread to rise until it's the height I want it.
But the coal is already ready.
The coals, when the bread is ready to go in the oven, you put the coals in. So there is an art to using charcoal that I still need to study into. But if you use charcoal, you can use like 10 underneath. I think it's 20 degrees for every charcoal that you use, and that you can put underneath and some on top. And that is how people cook outside with their cast iron as well. That's why those pots have lips on top, so that you can put your charcoal on top and it doesn't roll off.
Now, I've seen that before, and I've seen them burn the bread that way.
Yes, now I've burnt my bread like that. Nice. But we just salvaged it. We cut the crust off and we ate the inside. We did it on one camp out with the students.
So you don't have to feel helpless when your electricity goes out. You know, 'cause
I've got
it's awesome.
3 alternatives. I've got a gas stove that I can use, that we did the propane that we used outside there on Friday. I've got a furnace in my house that's got like a plate that I can put a pot on. And we actually have a little wood stove in our lounge as well. That's got a platform that you can put at least 2 pots on there if you have to. But it's too hot to burn both the furnace and the wood stove.
So this works great.
And that's going to be flat bread.
Do you have to wait for the stones to get hot before putting the pan?
No.
Yeah, it's pita bread.
That's it.
How long do you think it's going to take? How long do you think?
2 hours.
2 more hours?
2 more hours. It should be ready later this afternoon. Let's just check the stew here. I need to stir it a little bit. It's boiling nicely. So we just want to cook the vegetables until they're nice and soft.
Hey, Miss Vaughn. How long did this thing wait?
I put it in this morning at 5 o'clock. Yeah, it's styrofoam pellets inside. I have some.
Make it yourself?
Yeah, I have some that I've made for sale as well. If you want to buy one.
What is that?
The thermal cookers. The bag cookers.
What about those sun ovens?
I've got, we can go over there and see how things are going. The clouds are going to mess up things a little bit.
Can we make that ourselves or purchase it? Or?
Go leave. This is going to take a little while. Okay, we can go over to the solar ovens.
Down there?
It's right. Oh, it's down there.
We can bring.
Yeah, we can bring them up here. But we'll have to sit them on the grass there. There's 3 of them there. And fresh air. I have made a few solar ovens. There is on your notes that you're going to get, there's patterns that you can make your own if you want. You just print out and stick them all together and trace it on a cardboard. And then you can get foil tape. I found you can buy foil tape from Ace, or I bought mine from Harbor Freight, and very carefully stick it all over your cardboard box. Or you can use, what is that, Mylar? It is not bags, it's a thicker pad. We'll see that. One is made out of that. It's much easier to make that one, but a little bit more expensive. And they work both the same. I tested it on Thursday. I made the lasagna on Thursday, Wednesday and Thursday, and I froze the one, and the others I just kept in the refrigerator. We made it on Friday because on Sunday we don't have enough time for you to eat it. I need at least 4 hours in the sun with a solar cooker, and so we reheated our lasagna in the sun today to make it hot, so that we can serve it that way. The foil tape that I stuck on my cardboard. Now I have made a box solar cooker as well, but the temperature is not good in there. We tried to bake a cake there on Tuesday, and it didn't come out totally cooked. It was like brownies, chewy brownies. But it was edible. So for today we'll have dessert. We've got a cake that is made in the sun. A chocolate cake, carob cake. So if we go over there, I will explain to you. There is this is the modified Copenhagen solar cooker. The one that's still down there, the bigger one, is the Copenhagen. And that is what they send to Africa. So if you buy a solar cooker in America, it's actually sponsoring a lady in Africa to have one. That's why they're so expensive on the side. You can go there and buy one for $15. Here it is $70 or $80 just for a cardboard box. So you can even use just a car shade, the foil one, and just fold it. And the secret to get your temperature is you have to use a black pot, because that's going to track the heat. We just stood our Dutch ovens in the sun, and when I put the bread in, it was 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and it was ready to go in the oven with the heat that was just from the sun. Heated up the bread so quickly. We're just waiting. And you always have to lift your pot off from the base of your solar cooker, because you want the rays to go underneath and heat from the bottom as well. And you will see in these small ones I have 2 4-quart Pyrex dishes that I just put on top of each other to make my own little oven in there with the black pot that's inside. In the other one I have a turkey granateware turkey cooker, and I have that in a it's an oven bag that you can roast chicken and stuff in. You buy that from Walmart, and I use that as my dome to retain the heat inside. So if we want to go over there, I can show you, and you can feel how hot our pots are. No, wrong way. Now at the moment we don't have any direct sunlight so that I can show you how to position it. If I stand in front of my solar cooker, my shadow must be straight behind, then it's the right angle. So if I stand here, my shadow must be there. So my solar cooker is not in the right position. So I must, there my shadow is behind my solar cooker. Okay, so the sun has moved around, so you have to come out every half an hour and so and just adjust your solar cooker so that the sun, there, see, there's my shadow behind. This one, now if you touch this, go and feel there how hot it is. Who's brave enough? The clouds came over, so it's not as hot as it should be.
Like an oven.
Yeah. You can touch the glass here, it's also hot. You have to use oven gloves.
So inside that you have your glass. Inside the 2 Pyrex glasses.
Yes, that is. I have 2 for sale that I bought. The granite pots that's inside. You'll have to get your own Pyrex dishes. Yeah. The cheapest place to buy these things is Bed Bath and Beyond. One for them.
Which one, the pot?
The Pyrex dishes. I don't know how much they are at Walmart. I couldn't find the price. It was sitting there. But Amazon, it was about $12, $11. Bed Bath and Beyond, if you order more than $29, it's free shipping. And they were, I think, $7 at Bed Bath and Beyond. And the granite pots inside, I did get some on special at these are $29, the flat ones. And you can actually, I still want to experiment, I want to try and make a loaf of bread in there. As you can see, I've got a shelf underneath. It comes with a little shelf, and I just put that underneath that one. These ones don't need because it's sitting in the air. I'll lift this up and you can see underneath. See, it's sitting in the air.
Okay.
So you don't really need a shelf underneath this one. I can touch it because we've got clouds. So we had a big drop in temperature because of the clouds.
So that's a grill underneath that one?
Underneath, yeah, the grill that normally stays inside, I just used it underneath.
So you see this is aluminum foil? Or?
This is the foil tape. So that takes hours. It took us 4 hours to tape this one. Wow. I had Barbara help me.
So how do you...
It's nice. In Africa they use this size one because the ladies can cook with 2 pots at the same time. So I could have put those 2 together here and I would have had the same result. We tested the temperature. Remember, it's turning into fall now. On Tuesday we got about 280 degrees in this pot.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's sufficient to cook because boiling temperature is 210. So
So when you prepare it, you don't need to, when you make the lasagna,
I just layered whatever. I've got some pasta sauce, lasagna, tofu, zucchinis or spinach, some homemade cheese, and I just layered that.
wow, that's good.
So why do you have that extra on the bottom of that one?
Because I don't have, if I don't lift it off, the sun rays can't come from the bottom to heat it underneath.
No, the pad.
Oh, because when there's not enough sun to start your solar cooker before 10 o'clock in the morning. Because I have shade in my garden, so, and there's not really enough sun before 10 o'clock. And by that time we still had some dew on the grass, so I just put that underneath. So it's not really necessary now, but I can show you this now. You can make it into a cooker too. You just fold it here. Yeah, you can tape it or staple it, or you can put Velcro on if you want to be fancy. And the pot, you can just put in the Pyrex. Remember your middle. You can see now, because we were demonstrating. It should be, see this one, you can just press in here. This should be, it should be facing, there's my shadow. See, behind? So I must stand right, my shadow must be behind it. For the angle of the sun to hit it properly. Okay? That is very hot. They moved it.
But that was raw food when you cook for a couple hours?
Yes. This is reheating. I cooked it previously. I froze this one and I just put it in my refrigerator overnight, and we're reheating it for lunch.
What are we having this?
That's lasagna, all of these. Yeah. The cake we have inside, it's going to droop a little bit if we take it out. So we'll bring that, remind us, we don't want to miss the cake. So, and we also have some wild edible salad today. We had some people that helped us
How
collect.
do you make the lasagna in that round?
And I didn't want to go and invest in another $30 for that.
I thought there was a round pasta.
No, I already had those, so we just utilized those. I have made banana bread in those round ones before, and one of the cakes I actually baked in one of those, in a round. And you can actually make two of those and make a layered cake. We need to check our food. The food's not cooked. Kijk, die kos is niet reg nie. Yeah. I'll get it. Timmy's.
So you don't make the fire right underneath the pot.
No, you'll burn it.
Okay.
You only want the coals underneath, and we have it quite high above the fire so that we don't burn it that quickly. That potato looks almost done. It's the pumpkin. That's not. But that's not. I need to stir this, that big one there. So? It's on the flash drive.
Where's that mine? Huh? Okay, folks, so like has been said, you know, you can't always go according to a schedule as we'd like, but we should have been done eating by now, but the food's not quite ready yet, so if we can indulge your patience just a little bit. But we also need to move on with the program so that we can get through as much as possible as that we've scheduled. So the next topic that we deal with is water. Water collection, water purification, water storage. Now remember, more than food, water is important. Okay, how many days can you go without water? 3. You can go 3 weeks without food. Right, but you can only go 3 days without water, and by the time you get to the 3rd day, you're going to be getting into some problems. Okay, so water is a very important resource that we need to understand and be able to work on. Now, there's many ways of gathering water. Now, if you look over there in the shed there, there's a rainwater catchment system and storage. Okay, I built that a couple of weeks ago, and in one rain it was full. So I've got 5 55-gallon drums there with water in. Okay, right here where we are in Dade County, we have been without water for up to a week. Okay, now when that happens, you think you can run to Walmart. What happened in Florida with, which one was it? Irma? The water was gone in a day and a half. Okay? So if you think that you can rely on Walmart, Walmart is going to drop you. So if Walmart's going to drop you, what are you going to do? Okay, so there's one method there. Now there's some mistakes on that method, and if you go and inspect closely, those of you that are practically inclined might see it. Okay, the first glaring mistake is I used what I had. It's not good to use white containers. Why?
Mold.
Not mold.
Sunlight.
Sunlight, algae. All right? Okay, bacteria. So those I still need to paint black, and I haven't done that yet. So that's number one. The next mistake that I made is I thought, well, maybe I can take a shortcut, and I only put the connecting pipes on the bottom. What happened? Why?
Yeah, it keeps pushing together.
The air prevented the water flowing into the others. Okay, so you need the top connection for it to breathe so that the water can flow freely into the others. Now you can do that same thing with those drums standing up. Okay, you don't have to lay them down. When they're laid down like that, I can put another row on there. I can put 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so I can increase that as I go along. Okay, now in order for me to be able, I can use that water on my garden, no problem, but in order to drink it, I have a challenge. I need somebody to help me here. Can you run down to my garage, and in there you'll see a bag hanging over a bicycle stand. Hand me that bag, please. Yeah. Yeah. This is my bag of tricks. It's a waterproof bag, okay? Important to keep many things dry. And in this bag is the 5 C's of survival plus more, okay? So first C is what?
Container.
What is this?
Cover.
Cover, okay? We'll come back to that later. The next C is container. Okay, I highly recommend one of these kits. Okay, inside of here you have stainless steel containers. Okay, oh, that doesn't work so well. Okay, the other one is a candling device. Okay, a headlamp is preferable. A compass. Okay, it's important to be able to know where you're going, and we saw some of that yesterday. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, what is one of the most effective ways of making sure that your water is safe to drink? Boil it. Okay? So, you would need a container to collect your water. Okay? In a stream or wherever to collect your water. Okay? In order to boil it, and we don't really have time to do that here, but you would pack small sticks of the kindling nature around your container. Okay, placing your container on top. Why is it important to have this little grid?
Air.
For air, right? You need heat flowing underneath, and if you just put it into your fire like this, it's going to be a little more challenging. It'll take longer to boil your water. What this kit comes with is also a neat little hook that you can put into your container and put a stick through and hang over the fire. All right, so you've got 2 options to boil your water. And then if you're putting this in the fire like so, you can put this over the top so that you don't get any other contaminants in your water. Okay, don't use your plastic lid, it's going to burn. Okay, when you get one of these stainless steel mugs, make sure you can get handles that fold. Many times, you know, you can get the handle that comes out to the side, it doesn't pack very well. Okay, so it all fits back nicely together in itself. Closes up, and if you wanted to boil water in this has its own lid with holes in the side, and you could also put your handles in there and hang it over your fire to boil your coffee or water. All right, along with this, it also comes with another container, another little stand that you can place in your fire to get air flowing through there. Any questions on that? Okay, I'll leave that there for you to look at. This comes from the Pathfinder school, and you can get those kits through them. You can also build it on your own. Okay. The other, of course, important part of this kit is a cutting device. All right. I have one on my hip. All right, a solid blade knife. Okay. Why would you have a second one?
Just in case you lost the first one.
Or it breaks. Okay, and this is the reality. 1 is none, 2 is 1. Okay, the wife might need 1, or whoever else. But if 1 breaks, and I had this happen to me a little while ago, where the edge of the knife broke off, and it kind of renders it pretty useless. So then you've got another. Okay. I also carry a little hatchet with me. On this particular knife, this is a Mora. This is also a highly recommended knife amongst the survival community. It's one of your cheapest knives. You can strike a flint with it. All right. You can abuse it and it will last. And it doesn't cost a lot. On the side here, I have duct tape with a needle. A tarp, or they call it a sail needle, so that you could mend your clothing, a tarp, or whatever. Okay. I also carry a saw. This is the backhoe saw, one with a lot of reviews. It cuts both directions, not just one direction. Many of these saws only cut on the pull. This one cuts on the push and the pull. It's highly effective. Okay, but getting back to the water, in my kit I have got a life straw. A life straw. Okay.
Is there a particular survival book that you could recommend? I see that many of them.
There's so many out there. I don't know. Just, you know, you need to do your research. But what I do recommend is you don't just use one, right? Use more than one, because there's different methods for different areas, different places in the world. But try and get general. I would recommend you also go to David Canterbury's site, Pathfinder School. You can learn a lot of information from that group there. Okay, this life straw is more for a personal device. Okay, you can get your water from the stream. Okay, put your straw in and drink out of it without having to boil it. Okay, on the test of these, people are drinking urine, raw sewage water. And it seems to be, it says 99.9999% of all bacteria out of it. Okay, so they're pretty safe. And the beauty of these things is you will never utilize the amount of gallons that they can filter probably in your lifetime. Of course, some of the other important survival aspects, cordage is one of the 5 C's as well. Okay? All right, and maybe we can cover some of the others a little bit later. But coming back to water again.
Is there a brand name that you would recommend for that?
Life Straw. Yeah. Here is one that's taken the market. It's called the Sawyer Mini. Okay, 100,000 gallons, I believe it is, that this will filter. You can back flush this, and it's going to work very well. If it blocks up a little bit, you just back flush it and it cleans it out. What I also carry is I had the Katadyn filter, but these only do a couple of hundred liters of water. It might even be 70. I can't remember exactly now. And so they become old. But what I do use this for is a pump to pump the water through this. Okay, so I kept this as a pump for my Sawyer. Okay, you get the Sawyer Squeeze as well. It's a little more expensive. It's not as portable as this one. It will give you more gallons than this one will. However, a lot of people ask the question, there's various forums that discuss the two, and it's kind of a wash as to, you know, which one do you want to go with. And really it's up to you. If you want more portability, go with a mini. If you want something that's a little more bulky and can do more liters or gallons, the squeeze might be the better option. The squeeze is twice as expensive as this one though. This one is going for just over $20. Okay, I'll show you right now. I just need something else in here. Okay, what I've done here is this is a smart water bottle top. Okay, the Sport water bottle. Okay, Sport Smart Water. You can also get different ones that are cheaper than that, but look for this fitting because, interestingly enough, it fits right on there. Okay, so what I've done is I've cut the Smart water bottle off. I've used the PVC cement and I've stuck a piece of PVC pipe onto it and then siliconed it around. And now this will fit into my outlet on my rainwater catchment. Okay, so now I can filter through this all the drinking water that I need to use out of the rainwater. Okay, fairly simple solution for your water. Okay, so how would I use this? There's a couple of ways of using it. It comes with a straw. Okay, so you would attach your straw to the bottom here, and you could drink from a water source. Okay, you could that same Smart water bottle, you could collect water out of your stream, and this has a thread on that will fit onto that. Screw it on, okay, and then you can squeeze the water into your mouth. All right. Let me see if I have this here. And I don't. Oh, here it is. So when I go backpacking, I carry another waterproof container with me. Okay, I collect my water and I carry it back to camp. I put this pipe in here. I take this end off and I attach it to there, and I hang it down, and gravity will do its job, and you can run water directly into your drinking container through the gravity system. Okay, it takes a little while, but you don't have to stand there and watch it. If you attach your water bottle to this and you allow air to get in there, it will fill up on its own, and you've got good water to drink that's safe. It is said that none of the water running in the US is safe to drink. You can run into some problems. Rainwater itself, you can run into some problems by drinking it, and especially if you're in a survival situation, you don't want to risk getting sick with water. All right, because added to all your other griefs, you're going to have a stomach grief, and it could cost you your life in the end. So don't play around with water. really the only water here in the US that we can drink safely is directly snow melt. Okay, and so if you don't have access to that, you need to filter or boil any of your other water. The thing with boiling water is you've got to wait for it to cool. Okay, this you can drink immediately. Again, you know, you have to have it. I would highly recommend it that you have one of these in your purse, in your backpack that you carry every day, in your vehicle, right? So that if ever you get stuck and you need water, you can access water. Okay, any questions there?
Could you explain how you put together that magic again one more time?
Okay, this is a smart water bottle top. Okay, I cut it off. All right, cut it off just there. And then this is a piece of PVC pipe, the same size of pipe that is on my rainwater collection system. Okay, I used PVC cement, and I cemented the PVC pipe onto the plastic water top. Okay, then I used silicone sealer to make sure that I had sealed it, and now I can just fit that into my water collection system, and I can then attach my Sawyer filter to that, and I can directly drink out of. It takes a little while, gravity as well. You've got a gravity feed, there's no pressure, but you just put your container underneath and you allow it to fill, and you can have fresh water for your family. Okay, you all got it? I made it. This you can get at Walmart. You can get them at all of your sporting goods stores. Amazon and Walmart are the cheaper option, right? Before Irma came through, I went to Walmart to see if they had any. They were sold out. I got the last one in the store. All right? So again, you know, you need to make sure you're planning ahead so that you don't wait for a crisis before, oh, I need a Sawyer filter. I need a water option. Because by then it's too late. I shared this with you yesterday, folks, what the survival community is saying. If you need to get out, for example, like out of Florida with a hurricane coming, tornado, heavy weather, a breakdown of society, you've got 20 minutes to react. If you can get out and get on the road in 20 minutes, you'll be okay, and you'll probably get to where you want to go. If you wait longer, the longer you wait, the less likely that you're going to get out. Some people waited too long, right? And as they were interviewed after Irma had gone through, they said, we wished we'd never stayed through this one, right? They regret staying. They couldn't get out when they wanted to get out. And so we need to take the precautions necessary to act accordingly. Okay? Yeah.
And I just want to say, like, my son and daughter-in-law, they were in Houston when the hurricane came through there, and you can't believe what the media is telling you either, because the media was telling them, stay. Everybody just stay, just stay. In the meantime, the weather was predicting 24 more inches of rain, in the next 3 days, but still telling people to stay.
And the reason they were doing that, or said that they were doing that, is so that they didn't clog up the freeways if everybody wanted to evacuate at once. This happened before, and that had that same problem, right? So this is why they made that call, and the mayor was backed by the governor and for making the call, although I think many people regretted not getting out. Okay? Remember, when you have a severe weather event like these hurricanes, the water is not safe to drink, okay? Because it's affected all the city sewer systems. You've got raw sewage flowing into your water source. So it's not safe to just even walk in the water, they say, because you can get infected by all of the bacteria. Now, with your Sawyer filter, you could drink from that water. Okay? Any other questions? Yeah.
So you will say this will be, like I want to know what to prepare a backpack with. That would be some stuff? Like
Definitely, this would be some stuff, but you know, it's called a bug out bag on the prepper communities, and you can spend hundreds of dollars on these things, okay? Get the basics. You know, if you've got the 5 C's to the 10 C's of survival into a pack, and I'll unpack some of these packs in our next section here so that you can kind of get an idea what you can think of. And you might not want all that I've got because you're different to me, right? There's certain skills that I have that you might not have, and so you might need other things. All right, so you've got to think and work this thing through, but what this is about is to give you ideas, options, so that it forces you to think and you go and do your own research, okay, so that you can make a kit that's going to be effective for you and your family. All right, right here we are dependent on city water. Somebody asked me the question, oh, no well? No, we don't have a well. We tried to drill a well here. We went past 300 feet and got no water, right? And so in these more mountainous areas, it's more difficult. You might have to go down to 1,000 feet, they say, to get some water, and then they don't know. So you need to make appropriate steps with where you are and what you have. Now, as I've been involved in administration on this campus for a number of years, I keep asking the question, where I grew up and where my wife and I were farming, our average rainfall was 13 inches a year. Our drinking water was rainwater. We had a rainwater tank. I think it was a 5,000 gallon tank on the outside of our home. We were never without water. Here we get over 60 inches of rain and nobody has a tank outside. Why is that? Because we're so dependent on city water, right? And today in many counties and states, they are actually legislating against the collection of rainwater. Right? So if I were you, you'll notice where my rainwater collection system is. Okay, get the picture. All right? All right? I have some others as well. You need to have more than one source. Okay, and yeah.
That's your water collection?
Yeah. Okay.
We're from Uchee Pines Institute, and Hurricane Irma only sent tropical storm winds our way. Weren't very bad, but I mean, in the early stages of the tropical storm winds that weren't bad, you could stand outside without danger. Our electricity went out for several hours, all the way up in Seal, Alabama. And when the electricity went out, of course, the water went out too. And when that happened, I said, I'll never live like this ever again.
Right. Folks, everything's dependent on power. All right? If your electric power grid goes down, everything else follows suit. Okay? So, you know, in this whole scenario, you need to think through it carefully. Now, I'm not trying to cause panic, right? It's a practical process, and you might not be able to get there all at once, and it's okay, but start getting there. A biggie, safety, all right? Then water. What am I going to do for water? And I've given you a number of ideas right here, okay? Any other questions on water? Right? And coming back to purifying water by boiling, how long does it have to boil? Anybody else? Until it boils, right? But it needs to be a rolling boil. It's not just until the bubbles start breaking the surface of the water. It needs to be a rolling boil. And as you've got a rolling boil, it would be then safe to cool and drink. Okay? Anybody else? Yeah.
If, let's say, if we don't have these kind of kits with us, how else we can, filter the water?
Okay. Behind you over here, let me see if I can bring it this side without making too much of a disturbance. Okay, what I've got in here is charcoal off of the fire. Okay, charcoal is an important component of any water filtration system. This is charcoal off of the fire. What I've got in this one is coarse gravel on the bottom, then with sand. And what I've got in this one is dried grass and that type of material, also with some rocks in the bottom. So what your idea is here, and there's no water, but you would pour your water into the top.
This one?
Anyway, you get the idea. You've got to get it lined up. It was all lined up, but it's falling onto the charcoal there and going through the charcoal and on the way down. So you could get water and it could be contaminated. By the time it comes out the bottom, it should be clean water. Your colors, don't worry about the color. When you're thirsty, you're not going to worry about it. Okay, that's one option that you would have. If you had fresh charcoal there, unfortunately this is not fresh charcoal, right? Fresh charcoal, fresh material up at the top. You could pour dirty water in there. By the time it gets down to the bottom, it would be fairly clear. All right, and it will also have filtered out the bacteria, the dangerous bacteria. Okay. That's one way to do it. All right, you can make that on a smaller scale. I've made that in a normal plastic water bottle. Okay, you would do the same thing. All right, you would cut the top off here. You would put in some kind of cloth on the bottom. Okay, then you would put your layer of charcoal, okay, then a layer of rocks, a layer of sand, a layer of rocks, and then some fibrous material to help catch all of your bigger particles in the water. Okay?
What if you're
you would need to be careful and create some kind of filtration system. The best would be to still boil it. Okay. Now you can boil water in a plastic bottle on the fire. Charcoal, rocks, gravel, sand, rocks, and fibrous material, grass, etc. The same in the bottle. But on the bottle, you would put in the bottom here, you would put some type of cloth so that your charcoal didn't fall through. Okay.
So charcoal is, you mean this kind of charcoal?
Yeah, off the fire.
I have a question. Is there any way to purify or to filter seawater if you only have salty seawater?
If you only have salty seawater, what would you do?
Boil it.
Boil it in what?
Condense it.
You've got to condense it. All right? So you would need to boil it. So if I did that with this kind of device, I would need to create some kind of catchment for the steam with a loop in a pipe so that the steam would drip into the condensed steam would drip into a bottle. Okay? So you can't just boil seawater and drink it. It's still going to be salty. Okay? You need to distill it. Okay? You can distill it. You can make it out of a kettle. It's easier probably because you've got a smaller spout to make it out of a kettle. But you can't just use something plastic. It would need to be some kind of like copper pipe that you could attach to the spout of your kettle. It's a little bit more tricky than just boiling water. Okay? Any other questions?
Boiling the water in the plastic bottle.
Boiling the water in the plastic bottle. You can take this plastic bottle, and I won't, but you need to fill it and fill it all the way to the top, right? The water must be almost curving on the top. It goes this way, but it must be almost curving on the top. So it must be really full. All the air must be out of it. You put the cap back on, and you lay your water bottle in the coals, not open flame. Okay? Don't get your cap in the coals because it'll melt your plastic cap. Right? As you lay it in the coals, it will heat the water and the plastic together, and eventually you'll get a rolling boil. Okay? And you can boil water. Okay, now there's all kind of plastic contaminants in there, but you've got the bacteria out, and if you're desperate, right, if you're at day 2 and you've only got a plastic container and you've got a fire and you've got water, it's going to be safer to drink that water than not have any water. You will live. Okay, now how else can you do it? All right, so, you know, these waterproof bags or a normal Ziploc bag, you can take and you can put it over the branches of a tree, okay, and close the neck of it. It takes quite a while, but the leaves have got moisture in them and water will condense in the bag, okay, and so you can get some water that way. All right. This morning, did you notice something this morning? We had dew, we had fog. Both of those is a big source of water, right? If you had a tarp and you angle your tarp to a specific point, you could put your bag around that end, a bottle at the bottom of that end, and it could drip into your container, right? In that case, if I didn't have anything else, I would use a wider mouth container and I would put it there, and you'd get a good amount of water. You could put it on, if your depending what kind of structure your tarp is, if it's kind of a pitch like this, you could put it on both sides and you could collect 2 containers of water, right? There's ways to do it. You could also dig a hole in the ground. Okay? You dig a hole in the ground and you take some the cellophane plastic, right? Cling wrap, any kind of plastic like that. You put your container in the bottom of your hole, okay? And then you take a stone and you put it on top of the plastic. You've secured your plastic on the top of your hole, okay? You take a stone over your cup and you put it over your cup. And so as the water condenses on the plastic from the ground, it will drip into the cup. Okay? Again, it's not going to be a lot of water, but it might just be enough to keep you going. Okay? And then what about drinking your own urine?
But you said that filter will help.
That if you've got a filter, right? But don't do it if you don't have a filter. You know, all of it's on some of these survival forums, they'll tell you, oh, you can drink your own urine, you know. What is his name? What? Gandhi, but the Bear Grylls, right? He does all these gross things and he drinks his own urine and all that. Don't do it, right? There's a lot of what shall we call them, minerals, chemicals, etc., bacteria in your urine, although it's supposed to be, you know, pretty pure and sterile, but that's not what your body's meant to drink, okay? I know some people in some very serious, like mining accidents, have survived on urine, but that is really extreme circumstance, and you must be close to death because the impact on your body can be more than your body could handle. Okay? So don't just think, okay, well, here we go, I got to drink my urine. It's not just that simple. All right? Anybody else? Question, comment? So I could leave you in the middle of the Georgia woods without water and you would survive, yes?
We will know what to do.
I can make a fire.
You need the equipment, all right? Your 5 C's of survival, your containers, is a very important part of your 5 C's of your survival, because if you don't have a container, you're not going to be able to purify your water. Okay? Any further questions on water and water collection? You also get the tablets, by the way, that you could put into water to purify it. But again, you'd have to have those with you, and it's not a long-term solution. I hope you all have a first aid kit in your vehicle, right? It would be wise to put some of those water purifier container tablets into that first aid kit, along with your Sawyer filter. Say again?
Chlorine in your water.
Chlorine, you can get it, you mean getting it out?
Or we're putting it into chlorine to purify it.
You can use small amounts, you can use bleach, right? Right. Yeah. Bleach, you can also use charcoal, right? If you've got activated charcoal, you can dump charcoal into the water. You let the charcoal settle, okay, and then you drink what's called slurry water, and it will have gotten rid of the bacteria. Okay? Yeah. Amarillo.
Is it included, all of the information, including the items, is it included for the flash
It's,
drive?
yes, it's on the flash drive. Yeah.
You were saying that we can melt the snow and drink it right away? Or no, I didn't.
What I was saying is snow melt in this country, right? The water is not safe to drink. unless it's direct snow melt and you take it dripping from, running from the snow melt itself, not after it's gone down a ravine, because you know many of your critters, your wild animals here, your deer, etc., once it's flowed any length, it starts to get contaminated. But if you can get pure snow melt, you can drink that. All right, but melting snow, you could melt snow, right? But don't just eat snow. Why?
It's cold.
It's cold, and you cold. It's just going to make you colder. Right. Okay?
So that water right there, you would drink it just the way it is, or you do something else, something finalize it or whatever?
I would probably pour that through once more before I drank it and maybe let it settle a little bit.
I would.
And boil it after all. And put it in the No, it's
Chris.
I had experience with some contaminated water I did not drink. I touched it with my hand. I put some on my feet because I was hiking in the desert, right? And then later on we ate, right? So there was enough of whatever, the bugs on my hands, that it was contaminated when I ate, right? And of course you're in the desert, you don't just wash your hands just to get them clean. So I'm at night, we camp, and I'm starting to get reaction. I got reaction, right? And I say, what I'm gonna do is we are on a day hike, and it's 6-hour hike back to the Phantom Ranch, which is then a hike up the mountain, right? So the Lord said, you've got iodine, Butch, you've got iodine tablets, yes. Mix it up in the water and drink that, because it's going to kill it in the water, it's going to kill it in your gut, the worm. In the morning, I was okay.
All right, there we go. Thank you for sharing. So iodine, once you've got a reaction from maybe a contamination, either from your hands, right, and eating food because you haven't been able to wash your hands, you could drink iodine water and it could help settle your stomach. Linda.
One thing that I have seen used quite effectively in several different countries is where there is a regular stream or river. If you go about 6 feet away, if there's a bit of a slope, then you carve out a well there. And you let the water go through from the stream to the well.
Right.
Now, when the water first comes through, it's going to be muddy and dirty. You scoop that out for several hours. It starts to come through clearer. And then I can't say it's 100% safe. But the probability of cholera or giardia, those things are almost zero.
Mm-hmm.
And I know many people who survive that way
Right.
without any problem.
So did you all hear that? So if you have a running source of water over here, or a source of water, maybe not even running, or a source of water, and a little higher on the bank, you could go and dig a well, and you dig down, dig down, dig down until water starts to seep into the hole that you've dug, a little well, right? And you scoop that first water out and discard it and allow it to flow in probably a couple of times so that it clears out, and then you could drink that water. It might not be 100% safe, but it would be safer than drinking the water in the water source next to it. All right, there's also an option that you can make a sort of a hole, line it with clay, get water, you'd need a container again, get water and pour it into the hole, make a fire, right? And then put rocks in the fire. Be careful you don't use rocks that would have moisture in them because they can explode. Put rocks in the fire until they are hot. Then you take those hot rocks and you put them in the water hole that you've made and lined with clay, and you keep adding the hot rocks until the water boils. Okay? Now you've killed all of the bacteria. Now you'd need to let that water settle because it would be kind of clayey and not clear. It would kind of look like that, and even a little worse. You'd need to let it settle, and then you could drink that water.
With the well that you drilled that I was describing, the well needs to be, the water level should rise no higher than 1 foot below the level of where you dug it in.
Okay,
If
so
that makes sense.
yeah, the water shouldn't rise 1 foot more than the bottom of where you've dug.
No, the water should, you should have at least a foot of soil above the water line.
A foot of soil above the water line.
Right, because that is the area where you have
All right.
almost all your microorganisms.
Okay, a foot of soil above your water line is the rule of thumb. Yes.
Regarding the rocks that could explode, do I have to research on what kind of water rocks have moisture and which don't?
Don't take rocks next to a water source, right? Get them where they're drier. Yeah.
I think for digging a well, generally speaking, you need about 30 feet from the edge of the water, so that all of that can be filtered by the sand and concrete.
It would have to be a good water source then.
I don't remember 15, 30 feet, but
6 feet is what the World Health Organization says.
WHO says 6. Okay. Any more on water? Yeah.
They're starting to promote heavily in East Africa the use of the plastic bottles filled with water and just put on the
On the roof, yeah.
and let it sit there for a few hours. They say it's totally safe.
Yeah. I've even seen a couple of days is you know, but a few hours of work. You can take a water bottle. Water bottles are filled with water that you've collected and put on your corrugated iron roof in the sun and leave them there for a few hours, right? And what's working there? The sunlight, right, is working to kill the bacteria. Okay? You also get these other kind of fancy filters with ultraviolet light. They're quite expensive though.
Allergic to seafood or shellfish? Would they be likely to be allergic to iodine?
I don't know. Where's Justin?
This is just, they're watching it live stream, so that's why they're asking this question.
Yeah, where, Linda? Did you hear the question?
No.
Justin? If somebody is allergic, we've got another medical person here. If somebody is allergic to seafood, shellfish, would they react to the iodine? He's shaking his head. He's shaking his head.
I'm not allergic to iodine. I grew up in the Caribbean, but then I had the issues with the iodine.
Okay, so it would be, you'd need to determine what you are allergic to. Are you allergic to the shellfish or are you allergic to the iodine? All right? So then they wouldn't maybe be specifically allergic to the iodine. They'd need to determine if they were allergic to the iodine. If they were allergic to the iodine, then don't use iodine tablets. But in most of the survival forums that I've visited and listened to, the iodine tablet thing isn't a biggie, right? This is not one of the what these forums are pushing, these survival enthusiasts are pushing. The safest way is boiling the water. On all of them, right? The safest way is boiling your water.
And it's preferably metal can like that, instead of plastic.
Yes, preferably a metal stainless steel container, right? Again, you don't have to go specifically to Pathfinder. You can get these containers at Walmart, right? And try and find another one that would fit into it. I have another one that I could show you here. It's not here though. So that you've got at least two. One for collection and boiling, and one for drinking. And don't don't pour the one into the other, all right, so that you cross-contaminate. Make sure that if your collecting container has been collected, that you sterilize it first, right, so that you're boiling it on the fire as well before you reuse it. Otherwise, you're just going to drink the same problem. Okay, it sounds like the food is ready. If you have further questions, you can maybe ask them as we eat. And then after we eat, I believe the next thing is emergency essentials and again, the attitude of survival. Let me just double check here. Who's got a program? Okay, so we've done water supply. And I think maybe because of time here, I mentioned attitude on Friday evening. We'll skip that and go straight into basic essentials after we have lunch. All right, let's bow our heads for the blessing. Father in heaven, we thank you for the blessings we've experienced thus far today. We ask now that as we partake of this food, that you would strengthen our bodies and help us to be nourished by it. We thank you for the hands that prepared it, and we pray that you'd continue to bless our fellowship. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.